Sarah Miller had only stepped away for a moment, just long enough to wash a plate at the kitchen sink. Her 17-month-old daughter, Maya, was in the backyard with their new dog, Shadow, a German Shepherd they had brought home just a few days ago. She turned back toward the window, ready to smile at the view of her daughter playing with their furry friend, but what she saw made her freeze. Shadow was pushing Maya roughly at first. Sarah thought she was seeing it wrong. Maybe they were playing, but no, Shadow's moves were strong and frantic. Maya's small body fell backward onto the grass and stayed still. Time stopped. Sarah's heart jumped into her chest. Her hands let go of the dish she was holding, and it broke in the sink. Fear rose fast like a giant wave as she pushed open the door and ran toward them shouting Shadow's name. Then came the moment that nearly crushed her. Shadow grabbed Maya by her diaper and threw her across the yard like a soft doll. Sarah screamed louder than ever before. Her legs almost gave up under her. Every terrible story she'd ever heard about dog attacks flashed in her mind at once. How could she have trusted this dog? How could she have left her baby alone? But just as she reached Maya and lifted her into her arms, she saw something that changed it all. Shadow wasn't running toward them. He was staggering and then he fell down. Just a few weeks earlier, life in the Miller home was quieter, more relaxed, and more steady. Sarah Miller was a passionate elementary school teacher in Asheville, North Carolina. Her husband, James, worked from home as a software engineer. Together they were raising their smart, curious daughter, Maya. Life was good, but something still felt missing. Sarah and James had been thinking about growing their family. They had thought about having another baby, but something about the timing didn't feel quite right. Instead, Sarah suggested something else, something smaller but just as meaningful. What if we got a dog? She had asked James one evening. She wasn't thinking about a bouncy little puppy to adopt. She wanted Maya to grow up with a buddy who also needed love, maybe even some healing. It'll teach her kindness, Sarah said. And responsibility? James paused. The idea of bringing a rescue dog into a house with a toddler made him nervous. He worried about behavior problems, past trauma, and things they couldn't predict. But Sarah calmed him, saying they would be smart and careful. They wouldn't adopt just any dog. They'd find the right one. After weeks of looking and going to nearby shelters, they found him, a big German Shepherd with gentle eyes and a quiet nature. His name was Shadow. He had marks, both seen and unseen, and had gone through more than many people ever do. But when he looked at Maya on their first visit, something in his face changed. It turned soft, almost protective. Sarah felt it, something silent passed between them. Maybe hope, maybe trust. It didn't feel like chance. It felt like it was meant to happen. Shadow wasn't like the other dogs at the shelter. Most barked and wagged their tails, trying hard to be noticed. But Shadow stayed quiet in the corner of his cage, watching calmly, silent and aware, like he was waiting for someone, prove themselves worthy of his trust. The shelter workers explained that Shadow had been given up by his old owner, someone who had wanted to train him as a guard dog but had treated him badly instead. He came in too thin, with signs of both body and heart damage. The shelter wasn't sure if he would ever fully heal. James raised his eyebrows. A German Shepherd with that kind of past, around Maya? Sarah stayed quiet for a moment, watching Shadow through the metal fence. She noticed how he didn't react to the loud barking dogs around him, how he looked straight at her, tired but not mean, as if to say, "I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." The staff said he had never acted aggressive. During his healing, he had been careful, yes, but quiet and gentle. Sarah bent down near his cage, and Shadow slowly stepped toward her. Their eyes met. He didn't lick her hand. He didn't wag his tail. He just placed one paw gently on the gate. Somehow, that was enough. "He just needs another chance," Sarah said softly. James still felt unsure, but he believed in his wife's gut feeling. Her instincts had always guided their family right. So, they filled out the forms and brought Shadow home that very afternoon. He didn't bark once during the car ride. He just lay quietly in the back seat, resting his head beside Maya's car seat, still and calm, not as a guard dog, but maybe as a protector. Bringing Shadow home was peaceful. No barking, no running around, no jumping, Just a big German shepherd carefully stepping into the front door of his new life. Sarah had set everything up, a dog bed, food, toys, but Shadow didn't seem interested. He walked slowly around the house, smelling every corner like he was trying to remember it all. He didn't whine, didn't growl, and didn't wag his tail either. James kept watching him closely the whole time. Watching his body movements, especially when Maya was nearby, James reminded Sarah, "We can't be too careful." In those first few days, they never left Shadow alone with Maya. If Maya walked toward him, one of them was always close. Shadow, to his credit, never did anything scary. He would just lie down and watch, his ears leaning forward, quietly curious. Maya, of course, was in love. She didn't see the old wounds or the quiet hesitation. All she saw was a big, soft friend. She'd walk up to Shadow and gently pat him, sometimes trying to climb over him. He never flinched. He just sat there still like a stone statue, letting her stay close. Sarah began to notice small things, like how Shadow would sit between Maya and the front door during loud thunderstorms. How his ears would move at every strange sound, even late at night. And how he followed Maya's every step, not like a hunter, but like he had a reason to protect her. Still, Sarah never let her guard down completely. Trauma is strange. Even the sweetest dog could act out under pressure. She knew this. She reminded herself often. But there was something she couldn't deny, the way Shadow looked at Maya. Not with confusion, not with distance, but with full attention, with loyalty. Sarah didn't say it out loud, but in her heart, she started to believe maybe Shadow wasn't the only one healing. Maybe he was here to help them heal too. That day began like any other. Sarah had just started making coffee. The house was quiet, just the soft hum of the dishwasher and the faint sound of Maya's laughter floated in from the backyard. Shadow was out there with her, like he had been every day lately, watching, guarding, and playing. Sarah looked out the window while rinsing Maya's cup. The sky was a bright, clear blue, like a postcard. Maya held a shiny red ball in her little hands, walking unsteadily across the grass as Shadow walked beside her. It looked peaceful, almost perfect. But then, something changed. At first, Sarah couldn't explain it. A strange stillness took over the yard. Not the kind that fits with a toddler's game. She leaned closer to the glass. That's when she noticed Shadow wasn't beside Maya anymore. He was lunging, not in play, but with purpose. His body stiff, head low, ears pulled back. He slammed into Maya with his shoulder, knocking her down. Sarah gasped. Maya didn't move. A chill ran through Sarah's chest, her heartbeat racing. Was Maya hurt? Why would Shadow do that? But Maya stayed still, no crying, no movement. The cup slipped from Sarah's hand and shattered in the sink. Then came the moment that nearly tore her apart. Shadow grabbed Maya's diaper, lifted her, and threw her across the yard like she weighed nothing. Sarah screamed, a deep, raw sound from somewhere inside her. Her legs almost gave out, but fear pushed her forward. She ran through the screen door and raced across the lawn, her heart beating so fast she couldn't even hear her steps. 1,000 thoughts attacked her at once. I knew this could happen. I should have listened. He was too broken. I never should have trusted him. All she could see was Maya's tiny body curled on the grass where she landed. Nothing else mattered, not fear, not sense, not even Shadow. She reached her daughter in seconds, hands shaking, voice cracking as she called Maya's name over and over. Sarah's knees slammed into the ground as she reached her daughter. Her hands moved faster than her thoughts, patting down Maya's body in fear, searching for blood, for bites, for bruises, for anything to explain what just happened. But there was nothing. Maya whimpered softly. Her eyes slowly opened, confused, but awake. A small scratch marked her cheek. Her diaper was ripped. Her shirt was torn. But she was breathing. She was alive. She was safe. Sarah didn't know if she should cry or fall apart. She pulled Maya into her arms, holding her tight, whispering her name again and again, like saying it could keep her safe. Then, a memory tore through her fear. Shut up. She turned, heart pounding, expecting to see a wild animal, eyes fierce and angry. But instead, she saw him collapsed in the grass. Shadow lay still. His chest moved in quick, uneven breaths. Drool dripped from his mouth. His body shook. One front paw curled tight against his chest, twitching. His ears twitched too, but he didn't lift his head. What was happening? Her eyes jumped around the yard, and that's when she saw it. A flicker of color in the grass where Shadow had been. But slithering. A coral snake. Sarah gasped. She knew those colors. Every parent in the South did. Red on yellow, kill a fellow. It was one of the deadliest snakes in North America. And it had been inches from Maya. Suddenly, everything became clear. Shadow hadn't lost control. He hadn't attacked. He had acted. He had stepped in. He had seen the snake before she ever could. While Sarah was inside, safe and unaware, he had been outside, risking everything. Sarah held Maya tighter as tears poured down her face. Her mind kept replaying each move, the shove, the push, the throw. Not wild. Not mean. Desperate. Brave. Get Maya out of danger, that's what he had done. And now he was paying the price. Sarah crawled over to him slowly, not wanting to startle him. But Shadow didn't move. His eyes barely opened, barely aware. His breath slowed. His paw, it was swelling fast. "Oh God," she whispered, her voice cracking. "You weren't hurting her, you were saving her." Guilt slammed into her chest. She had doubted him, feared him. But Shadow had done what no one else could. He had saved her daughter, even as venom filled his body. Now it was her turn to save him. She didn't remember getting up. One second she was kneeling in the grass, clutching Maya. The next, she was running, sprinting toward the house. Her heart pounded so loud she couldn't think. Just one thought in her mind. He's dying. I have to save him. She kissed Maya's forehead, voice shaking. "Stay here, baby. I'll be back. I'll bring him back too." She grabbed her car keys, her phone, and a beach towel, anything that could help her move a 100-pound German Shepherd. Back outside, Shadow hadn't moved. His breathing was worse. His body was hot, too hot. His paw had swollen even more in just minutes. She knew venom acts fast. Minutes, not hours. Time was running out. Sarah knelt beside him and spoke softly. "I know it hurts, but please help me." Shadow didn't move. So she did something she didn't know she could do. With every bit of strength she had, and strength she didn't even know existed, Sarah rolled Shadow onto the towel. Then, muscle by muscle, breath by breath, she dragged him toward the car. Her body screamed in pain. Her arms trembled. But adrenaline carried her forward. Unstoppable, Sarah lifted Shadow into the SUV trunk. She slammed it shut. Jumped into the driver's seat. Her hands shook on the wheel. She didn't stop to grab shoes. She floored the gas. Red lights, signs, limits, none mattered now. "You saved her," she cried. "I'm going to save you." The emergency vet clinic was 10 miles away. Every second dragged like an hour. When she skidded into the lot, a vet tech ran toward her. One look at Shadow was enough. Swollen leg, glassy eyes. They rushed him inside on a stretcher. Sarah stood there, frozen. Her chest heaved. Her knees bent. She had done all she could. Now she had to wait. The clinic doors shut behind them. Sarah gripped the car door tight. Her chest felt tight. Her eyes burned. She didn't know she was holding her breath until she finally let it out, broken and shaky. Inside, the receptionist spoke gently. "Would you like water? A seat?" But Sarah couldn't sit. Not yet. Her legs paced. Her hands shook. She kept hearing Maya's laugh in her head. Then, silence. Then, Shadow falling. Time lost all meaning. Minutes felt like hours. The vet came out once. "We gave him antivenom. He's stable. But his vitals are weak. The next 12 hours are critical." No promises. No comfort. Eventually, Sarah drove home alone. Maya was asleep in her crib. She didn't know what had happened. David met Sarah at the door. He held her tight. His eyes asked questions, but Sarah had no answers. Sarah collapsed into David's arms. The tears finally came. They sat silently all night. No words. No sleep. Sarah stared at the ceiling. Her phone clutched tight. Each buzz made her jump, but none were the call. She tiptoed into Maya's room. The nightlight glowed soft shadows. Her daughter slept, peaceful, safe. All because of Shadow. She sat on the floor, whispered, "He didn't just protect you. He chose you, Maya. He gave everything, no hesitation. But I didn't trust him." Guilt returned, sharp and cruel. She'd feared him, doubted him, but he hadn't flinched. Not when it counted. As dawn broke the sky, her phone finally rang. She held her breath, voice trembling. "Hello." It was the vet. This time, the voice changed. "Sarah, he made it. Shadow is stable." Her knees gave out. A sob broke loose. Relief hit like waves. The hero lived. When Shadow came home later, the house felt different. He walked slow, unsteady steps, a thick bandage on paw. But as he entered, Maya squealed with joy. She toddled toward him fast. "Ray, Ray," she called. Shadow dropped to the floor. She collapsed into his fur. He couldn't lift his head, but his tail thumped once. That was enough. Sarah stood at the door, silent, still, a storm of feelings inside. Guilt, gratitude, relief, and awe. She knelt beside them. She sat beside Shadow quietly, ran fingers through his fur. Whispered, "I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. Not for who you are. But I see you now." That night she stayed close. Maya lay sleeping beside him, her tiny hand on Shadow's back. David took a photo silently. No one said a word. Words felt too small. In the days after, the story spread like fire. Neighbors, friends, local news channels. Everyone called Shadow a hero. A miracle. A guardian angel. Sarah agreed, but not entirely. Not because of the snake. Not even the venom. To her, Shadow's bravery was about something deeper, trust, forgiveness. He had every reason not to. He'd been broken, abandoned, mistreated. But he didn't hold back. He chose to protect. He chose love over fear. And that, Sarah realized, was the real lesson. Sometimes, the ones we fear are the ones who protect. And healing? It starts with trust. Not fixing others, but opening. Opening your heart again. As Shadow slept quietly nearby, Maya nestled against his side. Sarah whispered one last thing. "You didn't just save her, you saved all of us."